This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. I want to say all praise Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rachach Akwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone, who rule well, and all the Akim laboring in the work, pushing out this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. We hasten for the return of Hamashiach Yahushua and the establishment of righteousness on earth and the destruction of this wicked kingdom. So this lesson is going to be dealing with, some of the ways that the Most High has been using these animals to bring about judgment on different individuals. And this clip that we saw in the intro with the water buffalo attacking the man in the restaurant, I think it actually happened about 5 months ago, but I just saw that clip last week. I also read an article last week just dealing with this 92-year-old woman that died from fire ant bites, and I think that happened back in 2018. But there was a court case going on with the family, and I guess they just settled, so that was in the news recently, also last week. But anyway, I just wanted to use these clips and use these news articles to kind of highlight the judgment that the Most High brings about, specifically using these animals, using these different beasts. So without any further ado, let's just hop right into it. So this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 39. We're going to scroll down to verse 28. And it reads, there be spirits that are created for vengeance. See, the one thing you have to understand is that the Most High is in control of everything. The issues of life and death are of the Lord. The Most High, He creates good. He creates evil. He formed the light. He formed the darkness. Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord hath not done it? The Most High is in control of everything. There's there is a spiritual demon, Satan, but he's not in opposition against the Most High. He works for the Most High. And the Most High has spirits on the left-hand side, which are spirits that bring about what we perceive to be evil. But in all actuality, is judgments of the Most High. And he also has spirits on the right-hand side that protects his elect, sets up hedges. These angels on the right hand side, for the most part, they also protect, you don't necessarily have to be the elect, because a lot of people are appointed for judgment at certain times. So a lot of these angels keep certain things from happening until the Most High wants those things to happen. But the point being, these are spirits that are created. The Most High is the Father of spirits. He's the Father of lights. So there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. See, a lot of people carry on earth, they may have done things in this life, or they may have done things in their past life. This is how you have a person who, in the eyes of their family and the people they know, was a so-called good person, but this, the scriptures tell us none have perished being innocent. So you don't know, you may have had a so-called good life according to your friends in this life, but you don't know what you've done in your past life. And the Most High says in Ecclesiastes that which hath been the Most High requireth. I'm kind of paraphrasing. I'm gonna have to go get that. Salakia. I think it's Ecclesiastes chapter 3. So Salakia, I just didn't want to do too much quoting and then misquote something. So let me just go ahead and get it. So Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 15. All right, so this is Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 15, and it reads, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and God requireth that which is past. So the scriptures tell us there is no new thing under the sun. So the things that are now are pretty much the same things that have already been, and the Most High requires that which is already past. So the things that you have done in your past life, this goes for everything, but specifically dealing with, you know, the matter of judgment in this particular life. The things you've done in your past life, you don't get away. The scriptures tell us the Most High is long suffering, but he's long suffering in mercy. He's also long suffering in wrath, and he will in no wise acquit the wicked. So you don't get away. You may have, you know, died peacefully in the past, but you're going to get judgment in the next life. Now, ultimately, we know that all the atrocities that, you know, Esau Edom has poured out on the world, specifically dealing with Jake, you know, the Israelites, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, he's getting ready to be recompensed for all of that in this life, in this present time, because we're approaching the end, and that's going to be through destruction. It's also going to be through the different judgments that the Most High pours out, whether it be through beast, you know, or, you know, the sword, which is, you know, the modern day sword would be, you know, your guns, your weapons, or whatever, and ultimately that nuclear destruction. But also when we inherit the kingdom, they're going into slavery, they're going into captivity, and everything that they've done in their past is going to be required in that captivity. So they are not going to be acquitted. I just wanted to make that point in Ecclesiastes. So that was Ecclesiastes chapter 3. So now we're back in Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 verse 28, and we'll start back at the top. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Whose vengeance? Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. This is the Most High's vengeance. You got to understand these scriptures. They're not just words. They're just not words with no meaning, or just words to fill up the space in a book. They have meaning. They got power. You need understanding and discernment of what's actually being spoken of. This is the Most High's vengeance. The Most High, the vengeance belongs to the Most High. And he uses these certain spirits in certain times, whenever their appointed time is to bring about whatever that particular judgment is, or whatever that particular destruction is. They appease the wrath of the Most High, whether it be fire, hail, famine, and death. Verse 30, teeth of wild beasts, and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. Verse 31, they shall rejoice in his commandments, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. So whenever their time is, whenever the Most High says, okay, his judgment gonna be tomorrow, those spirits are ready. They're ready to hop on these different beasts, you know. So they hop on beast. When they're created for famine, they work things. They work on the minds of men in the world to create certain things, such as what you're seeing now. You know, these leaders decide to go to war. Some of the results of that war is, you know, embargoes and sanctions, which ultimately lead to shortages in supply, which ultimately lead to famines and, you know, whatnot. This is how these spirits act. You know, maybe a spirit is in the sky, you know, in a storm, a tempest, and it causes lightning to strike a field or a forest, and that forest ends up burning acres and acres of farmland, or acres and acres of how do I want to say it, or homes, you know. But this is how these things work. It's spirits that create these things in the world. but specifically with the lesson that we're dealing with now, it's these beasts. So when a bull or a water buffalo decides to barge into a restaurant out of the blue and just gored a man, that's a spirit that hopped on that beast to do that. So verse 31, they shall rejoice in his commandments. So these spirits rejoice in executing the will of the Lord. They shall rejoice in his commandments, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. What is that actually saying? They shall not transgress his word. They're not going to have pity. It doesn't matter if it's a woman. It doesn't matter if it's a child. It doesn't matter if she was 92 years old. It doesn't matter if it was a 3-year-old baby. It doesn't matter if it was a young man, expiring to go to college. He had straight A's, valedictorian, or, captain of the football team, on his way to college. It doesn't matter. They're not going to transgress the word of the Lord. They're not going to say, well, he was pretty decent, Lord. I don't know about all that. No, they're ready, and they rejoice in executing that judgment. Now, I don't want to talk too much, and I didn't want to make this long. What I want to do, I want to play another clip, and this is just a short news article. I'm not going to even play the whole article or play the whole clip. This is dealing with the woman that was mauled by these dogs. Then after that, I want to read a short little article just going over the woman that was bitten to death by these ants. So let's just watch this clip right quick.
When we met Jacqueline 7 weeks after she had been in the hospital, doctors had grafted skin from her buttocks and her forehead to start the process of rebuilding her face.
I feel like I didn't ask for this, so I think that it's time to show who I am now, and I can't be scared of it.
What are you hoping to get across with this interview?
I want for dog owners to know their animals and be able to communicate with their sitters how they are.
These are the same dogs who you had met a week earlier that you said were lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely 1 week and killers the next. How do you square the two?
Honestly, I'm speechless. They don't change their attitude from the time that I eat them to the time that I go there for the first time.
Jacqueline was released from the hospital after 60 days. Leaving there was a brave and spirited 22-year-old woman, deserving of the applause that she got from the doctors and nurses.
Now you can see that was some heavy judgment. The Most High had those dogs, mess that Edomite lady up, and he didn't allow her to die. This is what you call hell, having to live like that. That's nobody wants to live that way. And the reporter, he made a comment. He said, these are the same animals that you met 1 week prior, and they were friendly, and then the next week they have turned into killers. That's because those are spirits that hopped on those animals. So let's read verse 28 again, and then I want to go to 2nd Ezra chapter 7, and I want to make a point. So this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 verse 28, and I have a habit of repeating the scriptures that I bring out, because I want the message to sink in. I want the understanding to sink in. There be spirits that are created for vengeance. These spirits are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. Sore strokes are your different calamities. Being mauled by dogs to the brink of death, but not actually dying, those are sore strokes. And the time of their destruction, it didn't happen the week before. It happened the next week, because that was the appointed time. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death. Well, it wasn't fire, it wasn't hail, it wasn't famine, and she obviously didn't die. All these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. Well, what would apply here? The teeth of wild beasts. This is the power of the Most High. Now you got to get skin from your buttocks grafted onto your face. Now, what I want to do, I want to go to 2nd Ezra chapter 7, and I'm gonna start at verse 18, because I want to make a quick point. I heard the elder from South Carolina, Manak Tazakba, he brought this verse out, and he made a very, very great point when he brought it out. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 18. Actually, let me start at verse 17. Then answered I, this is Ezra, the prophet, speaking to the angel. Then answered I and said, O Lord, that bearest rule, thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish. So the righteous are ultimately going to inherit the kingdom of heaven, and the righteous are only dealing with the Israelites, the elect of the nation of Israel. Verse 18. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things. So the righteous, you go through hell on this earth. You go through different things. So you suffer straight things and hope for the wide. So you suffer these perils, these different tribulations in life, and you're hoping for the wide things where you're not squeezed, where you don't have the clamp on you, and that wide is representing the kingdom of heaven. Because once you enter into that straight gate, Lord willing, we be of those men, we be of that number. We enter into that straight gate. We're not going to be squeezed from the different tribulations of life, the different things that happen. We're not going to have hell on earth anymore. That's going to be it. It's going to be wide open. We're going to be able to rest. We're going to be able to stretch out mentally, stretch out spiritually, physically. Like the expression goes, let your hair down, But continuing in the verse, let me start at the top. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for the wide. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. So what is this verse saying? The righteous suffer. You suffer on this earth. You suffer different hells, different calamities. But guess what? The wicked also suffer. See, we suffer and we're hoping for the wide. The wicked, they suffer, but they're not going to see the wide. Now, the point, or the way that the elder explained it, he said, these are the conditions of life on this side. See, this is Esau's kingdom. He is in his heaven. This heaven just happens to be in hell. So he has shit going on in his kingdom as well. It's just that he's at the top of the kingdom. He's at the top in this hell. He's ruling this hellhole. But they still have judgment. See, when we have our kingdom, we're not going to have any hell. But at the end of the day, these are still the conditions of life. This is why this Edomite woman can, she's obviously an Edomite, get mauled, get mauled, got skin from her ass on her face now. But what they're celebrating her, this is still their kingdom. But at the same time, again, these are still the conditions of life. So I just wanted to make sure I brought that out, because even though Edom is in rulership, this isn't heaven. It's their heaven. It's their version of heaven, but they still suffer things. That's why the whole world is messed up. They're never gonna get to that golden age that they're seeking for. It's never going to happen. But the Israelites, we are going to get that golden age, and it's going to be an everlasting golden age, an everlasting kingdom, a kingdom without end. Alright, so from there, I want to read this little article, and then we're going to go straight to the scriptures. So again, this is dealing with the 92-year-old woman, and I'm not going to read all of it, just like the first two paragraphs, and they're real short. And it says, Georgia jury punishes senior care home. Georgia jury punishes senior care home in ant attack case. So again, I think this actually happened in 2018, but the case was just recently in the news because they settled it. So it says, we'll go start at the top of the paragraph. A Gwinnett County jury this week awarded $2.5 million to the family of a 92-year-old woman who died after an ant infestation at her assisted living facility. left her with stings across her body. Betty Perlow and her personal aide saw ants in Perlow's room at Sunbury Senior Living of Sandy Springs in 2018, and the aide reported the infestation to the staff, but the facility didn't eradicate the ants, and within days ants were repeatedly found on Perlow's body. The retired nurse died soon after with painful pus-filled stings caused by fire ants, the family argued. And this last little part is what I wanted to get. Her last week was one of agonizing pain, and it was miserable, said Lance Lurie, an attorney who represented Perlow's family and the trial. So this woman was 92 years old, and when you go through the articles, or you read, not read, but because they had different news clippings, videos, they spoke very well of her. But what happened? The Most High will in no wise acquit the wicked. So you make it to 92 years old, and you're in this assisted living facility, and the Most High uses ants. So it don't have to be a lion or a tiger or some water buffalo. It could be ants, and you go through a week of these painful bites. And you got to understand, ants, they're basically wasps without wings. They don't have the same venom potency that your traditional wasp would have. But after a certain amount of time and the sheer volume and the number of ants, those toxins accumulate. So you don't die quickly. It's a painful death, a slow, agonizing death. The retired nurse died soon after with painful pus-filled stings caused by fire ants, the family argued. Her last week on this earth was one of agonizing pain, and it was miserable. Just imagine that, these ants biting you. And again, you don't die the first day, you don't die the second day, and you're old, you might be kind of senile. I don't know her mental state, but you get the point. And one thing I want to mention too, I don't want to segue too much, but you can just see the Queen of Heaven's spirit in this kingdom, man. Every time you click on a news article, all you see is half-naked ass women. This would be considered somewhat modest compared to what you normally see, but every time it's all you see. But anyway, it's just some shit I noticed. So let's just go to the scriptures. I'm not gonna make this long. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 15 verse 3, and it reads, "And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy." See, the Most High is not playing. Now, all these things are about to get heightened. We're about to enter Jacob's trouble. We're about to enter into a time unlike any other. It's going to be so treacherous. It's going to be like no time ever before. I had a friend that lived in Detroit, and he since moved to North Carolina. This is a few years ago, a couple years ago. And he made mention that he said Detroit was so bad that you'd be walking down the street or trying to go to your car, and you see a pack of dogs, of like 20 dogs, stray dogs, and they be trying to attack because they be hungry. And this is like urban. So imagine when these things really get heightened, man. These animals in these zoos, it just finna get crazy out here. So these are just small examples of the judgment that's getting ready to happen, and I'm gonna prove that these things are getting ready to happen. So from there, let's go to Amos. And again, I just wanted to hit the scriptures real quick. I ain't gonna try to make it long. This is Amos chapter 5 verse 18, and it reads, "Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light." Now, this is applying to all those, pretty much these fake Christians, these hypocrites who claim to worship, the Lord and worship his son, but you don't know the Most High. You don't know his judgments. You don't even know his name, which is Yahweh. You don't know his son's name, which is Yahweh Shai. You don't know his law, statutes, and commandments. You're not truly worshiping him, because the way you worship the Son and the Father is by trying to the best of your ability to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Now, that's not going to be your salvation, but that's how you worship. And if you're not worshiping the Lord and his Son through his law, statutes, and commandments, you're not going to be given that mercy, which is the blood of his Son, Yahweh Shai, which is that covering, which is that white raiment. So you're not going to get that salvation. Just saying you call upon the name of Jesus, that's not going to save you, and that's not his name. So woe unto you who want the day of the Lord. It's not speaking to his men, because the scriptures tell us, we're looking for and hastening for the return of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Wherein there be a new heaven and a new earth. We know that this present earth is going to be dissolved with fervent heat. We're looking forward to that because we're looking forward to the promises, the kingdom of heaven, the immortality, the incorruptible flesh, the law, statutes, and commandments placed in our inward parts, that stony heart replaced with the heart of flesh. So this is talking about to those who claim to be worshipers of the Father and worshipers of the Son, but you're really hypocrites. You have no idea who the Most High is. You're not seeking him. You're not worshiping him. You're just giving him lip service. Especially 2/3 of our people, and that's under that delusion of plantation Christianity. But anyway, the point, verse 19, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. Now, this is using animals as a parable for the different types of calamities that's going to befall men. But you get the point, because some of those calamities are going to actually be animals. It's just going to be that terrible of a situation. It's going to be like you're running from a lion, and you just make it from the lion, and then what happens? A bear, big ass grizzly bear, meet you. Or you go into a house and you lean your hand on the wall, and guess what? A serpent bit you. Again, it's using the beast as different parables of types of destruction, but some of those destruction, some of those spirits that are enacting the vengeance of the Lord are going to be animals. So from there, let's go to Job chapter 5, and we're going to start at verse 19. So this is Job chapter 5, verse 19. It says, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. So this is to prove that it's going to be beasts in these last days that's going to be part of Jacob's trouble. That's going to be part of the all hell, that's going to break out on this earth, especially here in Babylon the Great, because these 6 troubles are dealing with the 6 trumpets. And that 7th trumpet is ultimately the 7th trumpet that's going to sound the destruction. And when that 7th trumpet is sounded, we have to be up out of here, because that's when the nuclear destruction is going to take place. So we got to be out of here at the last trump. We got to be out of here at that last trumpet, because that's the nuclear destruction taking place. So during these 6 trumpets, the Most High is going to be, delivering us, keeping us safe from said perils, while everybody else is being destroyed. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. Why shall no evil touch thee? Because we gonna be lifted up, And I say that humbly, because I gotta say it in faith. I can't doubt. I gotta say it in faith. But I know I'm not delivered until I'm on those chariots. But that's how no evil is gonna touch thee, because we're gonna be in those chariots, looking down. Same thing with Psalms 91. 1,000 gonna fall on this side, 10,000 up the other side. But no evil shall befall thee. Only with thine eyes shall thou behold the reward of the wicked. Because you're gonna be looking down. You're not gonna receive that judgment. Verse 20. In famine he shall redeem thee from death. Meaning he's gonna feed us. My servant shall eat. And in war from the power of the sword. Because it's gonna be war. It's gonna be class wars. It's going to be race wars. It's going to be civil wars. It's going to be neighbor against neighbor. It's going to be kingdom against kingdom. It's going to be city against city, because it's going to be every man for himself. And guess what? It's going to be nation against nation, which is already happening, which is only going to heighten the tensions and domestically, which you see already now. But I also want to mention this. It's going to be realm against realm, the spiritual realm against the natural realm, because the Most High is going to have those spiritual apparitions, the same ones that he had in Egypt, during the plague of darkness. Go read Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17. It's going to be realm against realm, kingdom against kingdom, man against man, neighbor against neighbor. It's going to be all hell. But guess what? The Most High is going to, this is why you need that hedge, man. The brothers are on those streets. The brothers are doing the sit downs. It's all through the spirit of the Lord. The spirit is making, the Most High, his spirit is heavy, because this is the last call. This is the last call, man. You don't want to go through what's getting ready to happen. In famine, he shall redeem thee from death. You people are not understanding the famine. You thinking you're going to be just hungry. No, you're going to be starving. It's going to be cannibalism. Your skin is going to be sticking to your bones. You're going to be weak. In famine, he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Again, my servants shall eat. So we're going to be redeemed, and we're going to be protected from the sword. Verse 21, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue. So we're going to be, we're not going to be thirsty. We're not going to be dehydrated. Neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh, because it's going to be different types of things going on. People robbing one another, people invading their neighbors' houses, pillaging, raping, ravishing, all of that. Verse 22, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. Now, you see a lot of brothers when we make videos, we might come off as heartless, but we're not heartless. We just understand what judgment is, and we're able to laugh at certain things, because we know what's the judgment. People who don't understand the Most High, you see a woman get bit, all to hell, face torn up, ass meat on her face, and people cry. Oh, that's sad. I wish that never would have happened. Well, this is judgment, man. Who are you to reply against the Most High? His judgments are righteous and true. His ways are not your ways. His thoughts are not your thoughts. Who are you? See, if it was your way, you wouldn't enact any judgment. Everybody would be able to do whatever they want to do. See, the Most High is preparing his men to be judges of the earth. Even judges over the angels. The scriptures even tell us that. We're going to be judges over the angels. He's preparing his men for judgment. So we can't be filled with emotion. Emotion to the extent where, because laughter will obviously be some type of emotion, but that emotion is going to be to the fact that we're being protected and we're understanding what's going on. Isaiah 33:6, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. People are going to be losing their minds, not what's going on. When people see clips of somebody's face torn up, they don't have any idea why that could have happened. But see, we're stable. We got mental stability because we understand the scriptures. We understand what's going on in the world. And there's a level of comfort. And we're going to have that spirit upon us, that spirit of faith, that spirit of, just being grounded 10 toes down. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. Neither shalt thou be afraid of the beast of the earth. Now, why does the Most High make a point of mentioning that? That's because these beasts are going to be tearing ass. They're going to be tearing ass. These beasts are not going to be playing. The Most High made a point to mention that. Neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. Verse 23. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. So you might be in a situation where you have to be on the run. You're in the wilderness and you run up on a pack of wolves, or you run up on a big ass bear and her cubs, and they just walk right past you. And it might be some people behind you chasing you. They run right past you and attack them. Because they're going to be at peace with you. This is those spirits on those beasts. Some there'll be spirits created for vengeance. You know, some are going to be there to create a hedge around you. Some just going to be focused on having vengeance played out on different individuals. But that's the point. So verse 22 again. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth, for thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beast of the field shall be at peace with thee. Showing you that the Most High is going to be using these animals. And these are just slight examples of judgment, man. It's going to get real crazy out here. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I didn't want to make it long. I'm going to say all praise Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Racha Akwadash, for putting the spirit on me to do the lesson. Hopefully it was edifying. And until next time, Shalom.